Hello everybody, this is Chris from By Design, and in this video I'm going to be picking up where we left off last time. So in the last video we looked at loading data from blob storage into our staging environment dynamically. In this video I will be showing you how to take that data and load it into your dimensional model. Now it doesn't have to be a dimensional model, it can be any database you like. It doesn't have to be a data warehouse or a data mart. The principles are the same, but today we will be loading that data from staging into our dimensional model. So the first thing I'm going to do is take you through our database scripts. So we've got our Azure Database, Azure SQL Database, and these scripts are largely as they were in the previous video. However, what I've done is I've created a staging schema. So what we've got is our staging schema, and then our other tables are as they were, except they are living or residing within the staging schema. So we've got our customer staging table, we've got our product staging table, and we've got our sales staging table. Then from there we've got our load definition table, which is handling our dynamic load. We have our stored procedure that is part of that process, which is taking our source file name and returning us the table details out of metadata to decide which table to load based on the passing file name. Then we have a new stored procedure to go and truncate our staging tables. So the first thing we'll do in our pipeline is actually call this stored procedure to clear out the staging tables before we load them. And then we have our metadata for our staging load. And then we come to our new objects. So we have a couple of dimensions and a fact table. So we have, for our customer dimension, what we're doing here is we're creating a surrogate key, which is always best practice for dimension tables. And then we have our business key, followed by a few different attributes, and then a couple of, or 4 audit columns here. And then we have our primary key on our surrogate key, and we have a unique key on our business key. Same applies for our product dimension. And then we have our sales fact table, which again has a surrogate key. We then have our business key, and then a couple of foreign keys to our new dimensions and some more audit columns, as well as our fact table, our primary key and our unique key on our business key. So the way that we're going to be loading this data incrementally is by calling stored procedures and by doing a merge. So we're using the power of SQL Server behind the scenes here, rather than using the data flow in ADF or any different way of doing it. We are basically doing a merge. So it's basically saying for dim customer, we're saying merge into our target, which is dim customer, using our staging table, and this is how we're matching between the two. We're saying on the source ID matches our target customer ID. So that's our business key. And that's why we've got a unique key on our business key in the dimension. And then we're just saying when there's no match found, so when the source ID doesn't match the target ID, we know it's a new record, go and insert it. When there is a match, then go and update it. So this is a pretty simple scenario that we're looking at. Obviously these merge statements and the load into your dimensions and facts can be certainly more complicated, but this is just showing you a simple way of getting all the way from blob storage into your final tables via an incremental load. So same principle applies for our product load, same principle applies for our fact table load. The only difference here is that we're not just going directly from our source table, which is our sales table in staging, but then we're doing a left join to each of our dimensions. And we're left joining here so that we can cater for an unknown key. So here we just hard coding a value of -1 for an unknown member. And typically what you would do in your default data is have an unknown member in each of those dimensions. So basically means that whenever you go and query your data warehouse, you never really need to left join. You should always be able to inner join, and you'll always find a match, even if that match is against the unknown member in the dimension. So what we're going to do now is start to apply this into Azure. So first things first, I'm just going to run this script because I've got a completely blank database at the moment. Okay, so it's not told us too much, but hopefully that has gone and created some tables for us. Let's have a little refresh here. Lovely, and some stored procs. Lovely, so now that our database model is all ready, we can switch over to ADF and start building. So the first thing I'm going to do is add my truncate table statement to the start of the existing pipeline. So if I go into general, and what we're going to do is call a stored proc, stored procedure, and we're going to call this very imaginatively truncate staging. So we're going to talk to our demo DB, stored procedure. We can go and find and say truncate staging, and then join that up before you go and auto align it. So what it's going to do now is every time it loads staging, it's just going to clear it out first. So we can go and debug that. We've got 1,000 rows in each of our files in blob storage. It's just getting the files to load. Now it's doing the load of each of those tables. Lovely. So we should have 1,000 rows in each of our tables. So if we have a quick look at our staging. Count star. 1,000 rows. So now if I go and run it again, there should be 1,000 rows, not 2,000. So let's give that a go. Debug that again. Wait to see the output. Doing its magic. Copies going on. And we're all done. So again, if we switch back, 1,000 rows. All good so far. So that's the easy bit. So now what we're going to do is perform our final merge. So we've got all of our data in staging. Now we want to merge it into our dimensions and our facts. So what we're going to do is, for me, I'm just going to create a new pipeline because it's a separate task. Essentially doing a separate bit of work, I'm going to create a separate pipeline. Completely up to you whether you do that or not, but that's the way that I'm going to do it. So create a new pipeline. I'm going to move it into my demo folder, and I'm going to call it staging to final. So, and what we're going to do in here is we are going to add some stored procedure calls. So basically we're going to call all of our stored procs. So first off, we are going to have one to load dim customer. Just the same as we've done before. We've got our demo DB. We'll go and pick our stored procedure. There we go. And then all I'm going to do is copy that. Do the same thing for dim product. And we just need to change what stored procedure we're calling. Now we're going to copy it again, but for fact sales and for fact tables in general, you will generally want to be loading them after you've loaded your dimensions, because your facts refer to your dimensions. So you won't know your surrogate keys for your dimensions until you've loaded them, obviously. So here we're going to change this to load fact sales. And again, secret account should be the same, but we're going to say load fact sales. So that should be our load end to end. So all we have to do is, let's just do a little quick check of our dimensions and our facts, make sure they're empty. Like I say, typically with your dimensions you will have default data for your unknown member, and I will add that into the script before I publish it to the website for you to use. But here you can see they are all empty, so we jump back in here. The last thing we need to do is actually go and call that stored proc. So we want to do it after our for each that's loaded staging. So sorry, not call that stored proc, call that pipeline. So we'll stick an execute pipeline on the end. And we will just rename that to load staging to final, we'll call it. And our settings are, we're going to call staging to final. So hopefully now, if we run that end to end, we will get some data loaded all the way through. Running through. Staging is being a little bit slow. Now we're on staging to final. And it succeeded. All good. So, if we go and have a look at our database now, or our data warehouse, customer dimension, we've got some data. Product dimension, we've got some data, and you can see we've got our insert user and our insert time in there. And our fact sales table, we have some data and we have our foreign keys as well. So what I'm going to do now is just run this through one more time, and because I'm not checking on the update if anything has changed, I'm just saying if the record's already there, then, and it's in staging and it's already there in the dimension or fact, then just go and update it. So we should then go and see these columns update as well. So let's give that another go. So jump back to our parent pipeline, debug that. It's queued, don't know what it's queued behind. There we go. Okay, now we're doing our load to staging. That's completed. Staging to final. Done. So hopefully now, there we go. So we've got a last update time and a last update user. So these scripts will be available on the website, and obviously here, in the previous demo, we did a dynamic load to staging, and in this video, we're doing the staging to final part is manual. So in the next video, what I'm going to show you is actually making that staging to final part dynamic as well. So join me for that video and I'll see you next time. Thanks very much.